How do you kickstart a property deal sourcing business as a beginner? Now, I've helped hundreds of my students kickstart a rent-to-rent business. Now, if you check out the videos on my YouTube channel, you'll see I've helped students hit up to £35,000 per month in profit in their business. However, in this video, I'm going to break down how you can kickstart a profitable deal sourcing business as a complete beginner. Now, first, we'll start off with the basics and then move on to the more advanced stuff. Deal sourcing is simply when you're finding property deals, but instead of you taking on these property deals for yourself, you're selling it on to investors for a fee. Now, currently the average deal sourcing fee is around £3,000, but there definitely are deal sourcers that charge a lot more than this, some as high as £10,000. And with deal sourcing, you can pretty much do this with any property strategy. This could be rent to rents, HMOs, buy to lets, BRRs, etc, etc. But for the purpose of this video, we're mainly going to focus on the rent to rent strategy. Now, the reason why deal sourcing can be a very good strategy for you to get started off with is, let's say for example, you're someone that doesn't have the most amount of money. Let's say you are someone that's very interested in kickstarting your own rent to rent business, service accommodation business, or someone that even wants to get to the point where they're buying their own properties. But currently you don't have the most amount of money to get into those strategies, then deal sourcing can be an excellent way for you to build up the cash pot that you currently have to allow you to eventually get involved in those strategies that I just mentioned. Now, typically, if you're looking to take on a rent to rent deal, that's going to cost you anywhere between £5,000 to £7,000 to take on. And of course, if you're looking at buying a property too, it's going to cost you a lot more. So if you are someone that doesn't have the most amount of money to get started, this could be an excellent strategy for you to get started off with. And trust me, if you're going to buy the right way, you can get to the point where it moves quite quickly. If you're selling one deal for £3,000, you sell 4 those deals per month, that's £12,000 per month that you're making. I know people that sell 4 deals per week. So to get to the point where you're selling 4 deals per month, if you're going to buy it the right way, trust me, it's very, very doable. So let's get straight into the meat. If you're looking to kickstart this business off, first and foremost, you need to go about setting yourself up correctly. This involves setting up your limited company. Now, you can easily get a company set up by going on Company's House, paying a small fee, picking a name, and getting good to go with that. Not only that as well, you need to make sure that you have a professional website in place as well. If you have investors that are looking to do research on you, trust me, you want to have a website. If you don't, it's a very bad look. You can easily go on platforms like Upwork, find a freelancer, pay them a couple £100 to build you a very professional website. Alternatively, if you are trying to take the cheaper route to create a website, you can definitely do this yourself by going on platforms like Wix, Squarespace, GoDaddy, selecting the different templates that are over there, and then creating yourself a nice little website. Also, you want to make sure that you have the correct compliances in place to allow you to do this. This is very, very important, and you want to make sure you don't skip this part. The first one is making sure that you're a part of the correct redress scheme. There's 2 main ones, the TPO or the Property Ombudsman, or the PRS / the Property Redress Scheme. You also want to make sure that you have the correct insurances in place. We're talking public liability insurance and also professional indemnity insurance as well. You also want to make sure that you're a part of the ICO or the Information Commission's Office. And most importantly, you want to make sure that you sign up for HMRC's anti-money laundering scheme. Like I said, becoming fully compliant is essential for you to be able to start deal sourcing. If you try to skip this part and you get caught, you'll get hit up with a massive fine, and trust me, it's not worth it. Also, you want to make sure that when you're starting off with deal sourcing, you want to focus on one strategy and one strategy only. You don't really want to be that person that focuses on HMOs, rent to rent, social housing, BRRs, flips, and all these different things. And look, the reason for this is very simple. People go to specialists in their fields. So if I'm looking for a service accommodation deal, I'm going to go to a deal sourcer that specializes in finding service accommodation deals. Similar to if someone's looking for a BRR deal, they're going to go to specialists that specialize in finding BRR deals. So it's so important that you want to make sure that you're known as someone that specializes in a certain area when it comes to deal sourcing. So make sure you're picking a strategy and make sure you're sticking with it. Now, this is a question I get asked quite a lot. When it comes to deal sourcing, what do I need first? Do I need to get the deal first, or do I need to get the investor first? You 110% want to make sure that you get the investor first, because the thing is, you can have a super sick deal there, but if you don't have an investor to buy that deal from you, well, you're not in business. So it's extremely important that before you bring any deals to the table, you actually have investors there ready to pay you for those deals that you bring to the table. Now, your next logical question might be, okay, cool, that sounds good, but where can I actually go about finding these investors? Don't worry about that right there. I got you. Now, me personally, I was able to build up a fat list of investors because I'm so so active on social media and I'm constantly putting myself out there. So because I'm always on the socials, sharing my knowledge, sharing game, and also sharing my journey as well, people see that, they know what I'm about, they know I'm that guy, so they reach out to me when they need deals. So social media can definitely be a powerful tool if you go about using it correctly. However, if you're not a social media guy, that's cool. There are other things you can do as well. You can start hitting up different networking events, specifically around property. You have a lot of these going on quite frequently across different parts of the UK. Now there's two main apps you need to download for this. One's called Meetup, the other one's called Eventbrite. Now once you download these apps and you type in property networking meetings in your local area or the surrounding areas, I'm sure you'll see many different events that you can book yourself in for and actually start attending. From there, you can connect with different people, start conversating, and start seeing who there can be a potential investor that you can help. Another really good platform that you can use to find investors is Facebook. Specifically, you can join the different Facebook communities that are centered around property and also rent to rent as well. Now, once you join these groups, you can start connecting with the different members that are part of those groups. You can put different posts out there, letting people know what you're looking for, who you're looking to connect with. Now, when it comes to working with investors, there's two main categories that you want to split them into. The first investor is your wholesale investor. What that means is these are going to be investors that you have on your list, and when you actually have deals, you're going to shoot them across to those investors to see if they're interested. So that's one type of investor. The other type of investor is an investor that you're going to provide a bespoke service to. What that means is that specific investor is going to give you a criteria and certain requirements for the types of deals that they're looking for, and they're also going to pay you a fee upfront as well, whether that's a partial payment or the full payment upfront for you to go about looking for those deals. Now, of course, the more of those types of investors that we have, the better, but of course, you're not going to get all investors that are going to want to pay you upfront. So if you are someone that's interested in kickstarting a deal sourcing business, you want to get trained, but also you want to partner up with us as well, click the link in the description box, schedule in a call with us, and we'll see how we can best help you. Now, assuming that you're just getting started off, and because of that, you will have a hard time getting investors to pay you upfront to find a deal for them, there are a few things that you need to do. First, you want to make sure that you're actually getting proof of funds from them. What that means is you want to actually allow them to demonstrate to you that they actually have the funds needed to buy a deal and to fund that deal when you bring it across to them. Trust me, a lot of people will waffle, a lot of people will chat. You wouldn't think so, but trust me, this happens all the time. So by you asking for proof of funds, at least that's a way for you to see that that person has the funds needed to move ahead with a deal if you were to bring it. Now, don't get me wrong, just because someone shows you they've got money, that doesn't mean that they're necessarily a serious investor. Trust me, a lot of them are jokers too. Ideally, you want to get these guys to pay you a fee up front. It doesn't have to be the whole amount. Even if they're making a partial payment, that's enough to show that they're actually serious. Now, don't get me wrong, this can be hard, this can be difficult, especially if you're someone that's new, that doesn't have a track record or experience, but it's still something that you want to push ahead for anyways, to have them demonstrate that they're serious. Now, once you've got investors on board, this is when you can actually start the deal finding process. Now, it's very important that you're understanding the areas that you're looking to target when it comes to finding deals for investors. For example, if you're looking for rent-to-rent service accommodation deals, you want to be looking in areas that have high demand for service accommodation and Airbnb. This could be in large towns, large cities, places that have massive tourist attractions, places that have a lot of hotel, and simply places that have a lot going on. Now, this can be your local area. It would actually be better if it was your local area. That way you could be a lot more hands-on. You can start going to viewings yourself. You can actually start meeting landlords and estate agents in person, and you also get to know the area very well as well, because that's where you're based. But don't get me wrong, that doesn't mean that you couldn't source deals far away from you completely remotely. We have students that are sourcing many deals completely remotely, and they're making good money from doing so. So if there's good demand for service accommodation in your area, 100% you can start searching for deals in that area. If there's not, it's not a problem. You can start looking in other areas as well. Now, if you're looking at targeting landlords for rent-to-rent deals, the best platforms to go on will be OpenRent, Gumtree, Spare Room, and occasionally Facebook Marketplace as well. Now, if you're looking to target estate agents as well, the two main platforms to target would be Rightmove and also Zoopla as well. Now, what I need to stress out to you is that this is a numbers game. It's not going to be easy. You're going to get a lot of rejection. However, the more we do it, the easier we'll get, and eventually we'll come across someone that will be open to that idea. And the better your skills get, the better you'd be able to convince people to give you properties. Now, look, there's a few crucial things that I need you to understand to allow you to succeed in this business right here. Now, what a lot of amateur deal sourcers do, and because they do this, it makes them amateurs in the first place, because they're so eager to sell deals to investors, they will come across an amateur deal or even a bad deal. They'll package it up, they'll make it look really good, they'll send it to the investor will pay them a fee, and that investor ends up with a bad deal. Now look, that may work for some people in the short term, but long term, that's going to be so damaging to your reputation and also your business as well. So please, whatever you do, do not fall into that trap of just trying to sell whatever deal to investors. Because guess what? Word will get around that you're a person to deal with, and no one's going to want to deal with you as a result. Be that person that only sources high quality, excellent deals for investors. If you become that person, trust me, you're going to have a line of investors wanting to work with you on a regular basis. Now, another very crucial thing that you need to understand when it comes to deal sourcing is that the deal is in the follow-up. What that means is when you're contacting landlords, when you're contacting estate agents and trying to get deals from them, it's so important that you don't just contact them one time and leave it as that. The key is in the follow-up. You want to make sure that you're following up with them as many times as possible, obviously without coming across as a weirdo. So be cool, check in with them, follow up with them every few days or so, let them know that you're still very interested in that deal and wanting to proceed with that deal. And if you're doing that and you're staying consistent with it, trust me, more times than not, you will have a lot of deals coming your way. What most amateurs do is that they contact landlords and estate agents once, maybe twice, but then after that, they don't contact them again. So if you don't want to be with the amateurs and you're trying to be with the pros, you know what to do. Also, one little side tip for you as well, if you're able to get estate agents on board, you're able to build good relationships with these people, this could be a very powerful thing. Because on the one hand, if you do get a rent-to-rent deal from a landlord, that's cool, not a problem, but now you have to find another landlord to get another rent-to-rent deal from. Whereas if you get together one estate agent, the right estate agent, you could have a continuous stream of deals coming from that one estate agent. And what does that simply mean? It simply means you're in the money and you're going to be milking it. So make sure you're doing everything in your power to build up as many good relationships with estate agents as possible so that you have a continuous stream of deals coming your way on a regular basis. Now, let's say you've come across a good rent-to-rent deal. What you do in that scenario, you'll package it up, you'll send it across to your investor, and if your investor likes it, he will put a holding deposit down to secure that deal. Once they've done that, this is when they'll go through the referencing process with the landlord or the estate agent. Once they complete that process right there, this is when the contracts will get signed between the investor and also the landlord. Once that part is done, this is when the deal is fully complete. Now, with that investor, if you haven't charged them a fee up front, this is when he'd be liable to pay you the full fee. Of course, assuming that you've sent him over the right contract to sign before sending him across the deal. And this contract right here that I'm talking about is one called a non-disclosure agreement. This is very important. You want to make sure that you get all investors to sign this before you even show them a deal. All this contract means is that you're protected and the investor won't try to go behind your back to cut you out the deal and go direct to landlords or estate agents once you actually show them the details of the deal. As a matter of fact, I've just done you a solid. If you check out the description box, there'll be a link in there that will give you access to our non-disclosure agreement completely for free. That's my gift to you. Now look, when it comes to starting deal sourcing, the hardest part for you by far is going to be finding an investor. Reasons for this are simple. Going back to what I said before, you have no experience, you have no track record, you have no history. Put yourself in the investor's shoes for a second. Now, I'm not saying it's impossible, it's definitely not impossible, but it's definitely going to be a lot harder for you to get those investors in from early on. However, there definitely is a solution for this problem right here. Now, a good way to get around this obstacle would be for you to partner up with someone that already has investors. You just focus on finding the deals, and then once you get the deals, you can then pass it on to that person that has the investors. That person sells it on to their investor and they split the profits with you. And then when you're selling these deals, you can use that as social proof on your social media to show people that, hey, I'm selling these deals to investors, I'm really that guy. And then people are actually going to see, okay, this person's actually that guy. They have the knowledge, they have the experience. I can see their deal sourcing very good deals for investors. And then from then, they're going to want to work with you. And you know what else as well? This is exactly what we help people do. Now, because we've got a massive database of investors, part of what we do with our students is that we partner up with them. We obviously teach them how to find highly profitable rent-to-rent deals. When they find it, they bring it to us, we sell it on to our investors, and then we split the profits with them. From there, the students use that as social proof on their social media, and then they're able to attract their own investors from that. And then they keep doing that over and over again. They build up a nice cash pot for themselves. And because they keep selling a lot of deals with us as well, they build up on their social proof. A lot of potential investors see that, and our students are able to build up a nice investor database of their own. By the way, if you also want to learn step by step how to analyze rent-to-rent service accommodation deals, which is extremely important when it comes to presenting deals to investors, check out this video right here. It's going to walk you through step by step the exact process that me and my students follow when it comes to analyzing potential deals right here. Again, check it out right here.